China just pulled the trigger on a trade move so intense, it's shaking the very core of America's auto industry, Detroit. While Washington was distracted by political games, Beijing made a move that could wipe out up to 670,000 U.S. auto jobs, according to labor experts. China has hit American-made gas-powered cars with a crippling 100% tariff. It's basically a death sentence for traditional U.S. vehicles trying to enter the world's biggest auto market. But here's the part that really hurts. While China is slamming the door on American cars, it's throwing the gates wide open for its own. China is now pushing out $10,000 electric cars. That's cheaper than a used Honda Civic. And don't think they're cheap junk. These cars are smart, efficient, and built for modern life. Meanwhile, Detroit is still trying to sell $80,000 electric trucks to middle-class families. This isn't just a trade argument. It's not even your typical trade war. This is something far bigger. This could be the extinction-level event for America's car industry, and it's already unfolding. Let's talk about the car that started this earthquake, the BYD Seagull. It's China's secret weapon, and it's lethal for U.S. automakers. It costs just $9,700, less than half the price of a Chevy Bolt, and it offers more range. No, it's not flashy, but it gets the job done, quietly, efficiently, and without emptying your wallet. While American car makers like GM and Ford dumped billions into massive EVs like the $80,000 Hummer, China focused on what people actually need: affordable daily EVs. And China didn't build these just for themselves. They built millions of them, then shipped them out to Latin America, to Europe, and now sneaking into the U.S. market via Mexico and other indirect routes. The impact? For the first time in nearly a decade, U.S. EV sales have stalled. Growth has flatlined. Why? Because buyers are comparing $45,000 American EVs with $15,000 Chinese alternatives and asking, why would I pay triple for the same thing? This isn't just about competition. This is a fight for survival. Detroit is getting crushed on price, speed of production, and consumer appeal. And it all started with the Seagull. When the United States woke up to what was happening, they hit back with a 27.5% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles to slow the flood. But China didn't blink. They fired back with a 100% tariff on American-made gas cars. Now, U.S. cars heading to China, once a major export, are twice as expensive. In other words, unsellable. The fallout came fast. Ford laid off 3,000 workers, mostly from their EV divisions. Stellantis, parent of Jeep and Chrysler, froze a $3 billion battery plant in Indiana. These aren't just headlines. They're people's jobs. And here's the twist of the knife. Even the EVs we build here still depend heavily on China. Why? Because China controls 80% of the global EV battery supply chain, from lithium mines to final assembly. So even if Detroit wants to ramp up EV production, it's still buying the most critical parts from its biggest rival. And this pain is spreading fast. Even Tesla is feeling it, facing production issues and price wars just to keep up. Think this is just Detroit's problem? It's way bigger. The auto industry stretches across the entire U.S., and now the pain is reaching into states like Michigan, Ohio, Alabama, and Tennessee. Mercedes-Benz's Alabama plant is at risk. Volkswagen's Tennessee factory is under pressure. Even Tesla, the pride of American EVs, isn't safe. They're slashing prices to compete, cutting into profits, and threatening jobs. Meanwhile, China's CATL, the world's biggest battery maker, just dropped a bombshell, a battery that fully charges in 10 minutes. U.S. labs? Still testing. Years behind. This isn't just about selling more cars, it's about who controls the future of transportation and who gets left behind. It's tempting to blame China. But here's the harsh truth. America's own automakers helped create this mess. For decades, companies like Ford and GM doubled down on big gas-powered trucks. They made massive profits on them. Tens of thousands per truck. While the rest of the world looked ahead, they kept pushing gas guzzlers. Back in the 2010s, China's early EVs looked like golf carts, but Beijing saw the future and made a massive bet. The Chinese government poured over $130 billion into building an EV industry from scratch, more than the U.S. spent on the Apollo moon program. In Detroit, executives laughed. They called EVs toys with 100-mile ranges. And sure, back then, maybe they had a point. but they missed what was coming. Now, U.S. dealerships are full of unsold Ford Mach-E's and Chevy Blazer EVs. Not because they're bad, but because they're too expensive and too late. And while U.S. automakers scrambled, China quietly built the entire supply chain, from lithium mines in Africa to cobalt processing in Indonesia to chip fabs and charging stations. They own the process, control the price, and set the pace. It's like the U.S. showed up to a Formula One race with a lawnmower, while China spent the last 15 years quietly building a supercar, piece by piece. Now, even if American automakers want to catch up, they simply can't move fast enough. Because China isn't just selling cheaper electric vehicles. They own the battery plants, the rare earth minerals, and the entire supply chain. This isn't just a car problem anymore, it's something much bigger. What we're watching is the slow unraveling of America's control over key technologies and resources. Let's begin with batteries. Even if the U.S. speeds up EV production, we hit a major roadblock. Most of the essential materials, lithium, cobalt, and graphite, are processed in China. Sure, we have lithium mines in places like Nevada and Texas, but without Chinese processing machines, those sites are basically just giant holes in the ground. Earlier this year, Texas announced a major new lithium refinery. Sounds promising, right? But nearly all the machines needed to turn that lithium into battery-grade material are made in, you guessed it, China. The U.S. tried to hit back with chip sanctions, blocking advanced semiconductors from getting to Chinese companies. But China had a response of its own. It restricted exports of gallium and germanium, two rare metals crucial for radar systems, 5G networks, solar panels, and yes, EV batteries. That's like playing chess and realizing your opponent just captured your queen, and you're still moving pawns. This isn't just economic anymore, it's geopolitical. Countries around the world are now picking sides, not just in trade, but in how they'll power their economies and transport systems for decades to come. Europe? They're signing deals with Chinese EV makers. Africa. Chinese companies are securing mining rights faster than the United States can even plan a conference. China isn't just exporting products, they're exporting influence. And the longer the United States waits, the harder it will be to catch up. Are we just going to sit back and watch as China takes over the auto industry, controls the tech, and locks up the global supply of critical minerals? Not necessarily. But the road to recovery won't be fast or easy. The United States needs a more strategic approach to trade. Tariffs alone won't fix this. Sure, they might slow the flood of cheap Chinese EVs, but they also raise prices for Americans and trigger retaliation that hurts our own businesses. We need balanced, targeted policies, ones that protect vital sectors without holding back innovation. Right now, nearly every EV battery depends on Chinese parts. If the United States wants true energy independence, it has to build the full battery supply chain, from mining to manufacturing to recycling. Right here at home, here's the good news. It's already starting. The Inflation Reduction Act, passed in 2022, includes $7 billion to help build battery factories across the country. And companies like Rivian and Redwood Materials are proving that American innovation is still alive. It just needs the right support. Instead of racing China for new lithium and cobalt, we can create closed-loop systems that recycle used batteries. It's not just smart, it's sustainable. But let's be real, this transformation won't happen overnight. It will take a full-scale national effort, like a modern-day Marshall Plan, to rebuild America's manufacturing base, train new workers, and reclaim leadership in the technologies that define the future. The question isn't just can the United States recover, it's will we choose to? Because if we don't act fast, China won't just win the EV race. They'll own the roads of 2030. This isn't a far-off threat. It's unfolding right now. The signs are all around us. The U.S. auto industry, the heart of American manufacturing for over a century, is hanging by a thread. If you care about American jobs, energy security, or just having access to affordable, reliable electric cars, this is your wake-up call. The collapse of the U.S. auto sector isn't coming. It's already here. And unless we act, it's only going to get worse. The time for waiting is over. We need change at every level: government, business, and our local communities. Support EV startups like Rivian. Demand smarter trade rules that protect jobs and encourage innovation. And most importantly, back efforts to make America a leader in battery recycling. Because if we don't, we'll be stuck in a world where China controls the roads, the tech, and the future of mobility. Will we sit back and watch another industry slip away? Or will we rise to the challenge and rebuild America's future? If you want to be part of the solution, subscribe and share this video. Demand real action from your leaders. Let's make sure America doesn't just survive this crisis. Let's make sure we thrive in what's coming next. Because the collapse isn't coming. It's already here.